Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis Ketchum. Here we cover everything about Rivian, EV news in general, and what it's like to live, purchase, and enjoy what it's like in the EV life. So today I want to answer a specific question for those of you who are considering buying a new Rivian R1S or R1T. And I want to help you understand, is the all-terrain package actually worth it? We happen to have the all-terrain package on both our Gen 2 R1T and our Gen 2 R1S. And so I want to break down what's included, basically what the cons are of potentially adding it, and help you decide if it's the right fit for you. So let's go ahead and break this into two sections. I want to talk about the dual motor and the tri-motor separately because what's included in the value there is a little bit different. And then within each of those, I'm going to talk about the difference between R1S and R1T because there is even a little bit difference there as well. So let's start with the dual motor vehicles. And I want to let you know right off the top that if you're considering the all-terrain package, this is only available on large and max pack versions of the dual motor. This is not available on the dual standard configuration. So some of the items I mentioned here are just simply not an option in any way, shape, or form on the less expensive entry-level model. Okay, so let's start with the R1S dual motor all-terrain package because that is probably the most common scenario that people are looking at, considering the R1S dual motor is the most popular vehicle that Rivian sells right now, and either large or max battery pack configurations. So if you're looking at an R1S dual motor, what's included in the all-terrain package is a 20-inch all-terrain tire set. These tires are importantly 3-peak snow-rated tires, which means that they have increased levels of performance in the cold, snowy conditions. So if you're like us, live in the Pacific Northwest, and not that we get snow all that often, but there is snow in the passes, my wife and I decided that it would be a little more confidence inspiring to have rubber that is actually designed and measured to perform in slightly cold conditions some percentage of the time, as well as giving us additional performance off-road in general for the few times that we go camping or light off-roading at that. So that is the biggest difference right off the top on the all-terrain package. The second component is that it actually includes on the R1S a compact spare tire as well as a tire change kit. So if you want to have an actual spare tire in your vehicle instead of just sort of a fix-a-flat setup like you might have in a Tesla or other EVs that don't ship with any kind of spare tire, let alone a place to even put a spare tire, one is included in this kit, which is really nice to have. Now, one thing that is only available as part of this package is the reinforced underbody shield. So if you know you're going to go off-roading or you want to be better protected from road debris kicking up and hitting the underside of your vehicle, that's what the reinforced underbody shield is. This is something that can only be added at the time of configuration from the factory. You cannot add it after the fact. Another item that is similar to that, which is the built-in air compressor, can only be added from the factory. Now, the built-in air compressor replaces the sort of fix-a-flat 12-volt pump kit, but it is nice to have it well integrated inside the cabin in the back of the R1S so you can air down and re-air your tires. You can fill up inflatable things for water toys, that kind of stuff, or just even blow off equipment, by having compressed air in general. So these are the hardware things that are included in an R1S all-terrain package upgrade. One thing that's not listed on the site that I think is actually pretty cool and of decent value is software changes. So you actually get 2 additional drive modes. You get rally and soft sand. So if you want to have more capability and more fun essentially in your vehicle off-road, then these 2 modes are handy to have. So rally mode if you want to do more spirited driving, soft sand mode if you want to tune the vehicle so that it performs better in soft sand so you're less likely to get stuck. Those are really nice to have, and again, is included with the all-terrain package. Now, you would have to normally pay thousands of dollars for the performance upgrade, which includes those 2 modes plus sport mode, but otherwise you cannot unlock these software modes, and it's nice that they're thrown in with the hardware bundle. Now, what does it cost on the R1S? For a dual motor R1S to add this, it's $3,700, so that's the financial component. But it also costs you a bit of range from the tire change. So that increased capability of off-road prowess and increased capability in cold and snowy conditions does cost you in range because of the tread of the tires. So adding this package on a dual motor max pack R1S, for example, costs you about 40 miles in total range with the same max battery pack. And that means you're losing about 10% of your range just due to the tire tread. Now, how does the $3,700 stack up? Because that's, not an insignificant amount of money for most people. Now, if you compare that to either adding just the air compressor at time of delivery versus the whole package, and then later deciding to get the all-terrain tires and compact spare, you're looking at a pretty decent savings because just the all-terrain wheel and tire set is $4,415, which is more than the entire package when you do it at time of ordering. A compact spare is an additional $755, and the air compressor, which would have to be configured at delivery, but that would be $350. So if you add all those up, going with the all-terrain package actually saves you $1,820. Now, just to reiterate, the air compressor and the underbody shield must be configured at configuration from the factory. I really want to stress that because I don't want you to think that you can just simply add them later. If you change your mind, you need to decide, is this something you want now, or do you never want it on the vehicle at all? Okay, let's get into the R1T because it's a little bit different. You have the same 20-inch all-terrain tires, but you have, instead of a compact spare, you actually get a full-size 20-inch all-terrain spare tire, the same tire change kit, the same reinforced underbody shield. And while you do get an air compressor, the air compressor on the R1T is actually a little bit more feature-rich. They call it a utility panel because it comes with both the air compressor as well as lockable ports that you can take a braided lockable cable to wrap around your cargo in your bed. So things like a bike, camping equipment, furniture, whatever's back there that you want to make sure stays back there, you can use this utility panel to better secure it with the addition of the locking cable. It has the same drive modes added, rally and soft sand. But interestingly, in the R1T, they rate that you actually lose 50 miles as opposed to 40. Now, the R1T is rated for a little bit more miles on the max pack to start with. So they actually say that it has the same range as the R1S when the all-terrain package is added. If that's true, that really means you're losing about 12% of your range instead of 10% of your range. So just something to keep in mind. Now, because the all-terrain package is a full-size spare tire, and because the air compressor also includes the lockable ports to make it the full utility panel, the all-terrain package is actually more expensive on the R1T than it is on the R1S. It is $3,950 instead of $3,700. However, when you compare adding up the similar kit, 20-inch all-terrain tires, and a full-size spare, and the utility panel, your savings for going for that more expensive package are actually larger than the savings on the R1S. So you'd actually be saving $2,440 for the nearest comparable setup on your R1T dual motor. So the value gets even better essentially on the R1T compared to the R1S. Now, I want to reinforce those drive modes because, like I said, the only other way to get those drive modes on a dual motor vehicle for a large and max pack is to purchase the performance upgrade. That software unlock is $5,000. It changes the horsepower, the torque, and adds the 3 drive modes. But you get 2 of those drive modes in the all-terrain package, and the total hardware cost, which has a significant change on capability and a significant amount of hardware, is actually more than $1,000 less than the performance upgrade, which is purely software. So I think, to me, that really extends the value of the all-terrain package when configuring a dual motor vehicle. Okay, so next let's talk about tri-motors. The important thing to know about tri-motors is that all tri-motor configurations include the air compressor / utility panel as standard equipment, and the tri-motor configurations also come with all possible drive modes regardless of adding this package or not. So that changes the calculus just a little bit. If you were doing it just for the drive modes, or you're doing it to include that air compressor / utility panel, those are base in the tri-motor. So what do you get when you configure an R1S tri-motor all-terrain package then? You get the same 20-inch all-terrain tire upgrade, which again has the 3-peak snow-rated tires. You get the compact spare tire change kit, reinforced underbody shield, but in this case, you're losing about 42 miles or approximately 11% of range due to the tire tread and the differences in the way that the motors work on the tri-motor R1. But they charge the same $3,700, even though you're getting less included in the package. So of course, that means that your total savings goes down as well. If you compare this to adding the compact spare tire and the 20-inch all-terrain tires after delivery, your total savings is $1,470 on the tri-motor R1S. And again, the underbody shield is only available in this package if you configure it that way from the factory. Now, the R1T tri-motor all-terrain package has the same set of inclusions and the same differences as the R1T dual motor in the sense that it comes with a 20-inch all-terrain tires, the full-size spare tire kit instead of the compact, the tire change kit, reinforced underbody shield, but in this case you're losing the same 42 miles or the same 11% range loss as they state for the R1S, and they charge the same $39.50 as the dual motor version, which is a little bit interesting because the only real difference here is the full-size spare versus the compact spare, because as I mentioned before, all tri-motors come with both the air compressor on the R1S and the utility panel / air compressor on the R1T as standard equipment. So even more of your savings get eroded there as well. But that being said, the value of this package because of that full-size spare is still better than the savings compared to the R1S, which is $1,790 on the T compared to $1,470 on the R1S. Now, the tri-motor variants are certainly a less compelling value considering the included air compressor and the fact that every drive mode is included, even with the sport or range wheels. However, there's still savings to be had if you simply prefer the look or you want the added capability of the tires from factory, not as well as the underbody reinforced shielding. The only thing that must be selected for the tri-motors in this package that can't be added after the fact is the underbody shielding. Everything else can be added after the fact since the air compressor is standard equipment on a tri-motor configuration. We have it, I mentioned at the beginning, we have the all-terrain package on both of our R1S and our R1T. They happen to both be dual motor max pack variants. We're really happy with our selection and we don't find the 10 to 12% loss in range to be bothersome. We find the look to be appealing. We find the capability to be appealing. And so we're really glad that we added the package on our dual motor vehicles. If I was configuring a tri-motor vehicle today, I would probably add it just because I do like the tires and I do still think that it's a better value. But I'd have to think a little bit longer and harder about that considering the drive modes and the air compressor are standard equipment. Again, if you want to consider building a Rivian and you want to use our link down below, that does give you some credit towards the gear shop so you can kit out your vehicle a little bit more at the end. And importantly, if you found value out of this video in terms of helping you in your buying decision, consider giving us a like and subscribe so we can get more videos out just like this. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.